West Ham look to improve on that impressive performance at Newcastle, but to do so, they take on a resurgent Arsenal side. It's big match preview. We meet tonight. Is Nicky? How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Feeling better after last night, I must say.
Mate, what a performance and what a difference that performance made. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, I think the whole fan base was looking for something to cling on to, I mean,
Hmm.
I've just done the breakdown, and I don't know whether you've seen the breakdown yet, but
Not yet,
it's,
no.
it's very going into it. I mean, I was looking across. Obviously, I break down all of the, clips that I pick up off social media and that.
Hmm.
And everyone was saying, "There's no way West Ham win this game." I mean, I was so downtrodden the other day. And then when I went into it, the first 10 minutes, that's what we've got to cut out. Yeah,
Yeah,
there and then,
yeah,
right? There, because, I have heard people say, oh, they could have been 4-0 up, and I've always said, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
that if you're not, you're not. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, if every shot West Ham had went in, we would have been 8-0 up, but it doesn't work like that. Football doesn't work like that. But I do see where it's coming from. We seem to concede chances in the first
Hmm.
half, first minutes of the game, every game. And that was it was exactly the same. They had that goal ruled off for offside. Um, but after that, I thought especially after we scored, I mean, it was from a set piece. I think that sort of give the players a bit of confidence, weirdly,
Hmm.
a set piece goal, because we used to score so many goals from set pieces, and we haven't scored one for a long, long time. And I think when
Yeah,
they got
yeah,
that goal, it just seemed to give the players that have been there already a bit of a lift. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, yeah, Newcastle did have their chances first half, but second half, once we got that second goal, they didn't threaten us, and we
No.
controlled the game very well. And that is what we wanted to see. I think Soler made all the difference. I really do.
Hmm.
Someone in midfield that can pass the ball, that was, very balanced in the way he was going forward and where he was holding. I think, Rodriguez isn't up to scratch. I think Alvarez sometimes can be too rash and,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and chucks himself in. It was just a very composed performance, And listen, when you're under pressure, and I said this in the breakdown as well, Thomas Soucek, when you're under pressure, I've been a detractor of him. Sometimes I look at him and I don't know what he does, but I tell you what he does do. When you're under pressure and you need important goals, he gets them. He gets
Yep.
them every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a lot more confident. Listen, it is Arsenal, and I'm trying to be realistic. But I want to see, I'm hoping Lopetegui's seen enough in that midfield, especially to think,
Mm.
right, there's no need to go so defensive. There's no need to,
Yeah.
to play these two sort of brick walls in front of it. We need a bit of an outlet from now, because it's where we go wrong. It's where we go wrong
Mhm.
because normally we've got the two defensive midfielders right on top of the defenders, and then there's such a big gap between them and the ones that are up the top.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
don't work. And I think it was very more balanced on Monday. So I'm not getting carried away myself, because Arsenal, we're going to talk about them in a minute. But I'm a lot more positive going into this one than I would have been last week. That's what I would
Yeah.
say.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. Everything you've said there, it is, the team looked so much more balanced just with that change in that midfield. And we've said it before, in build ups to games and after games, we've looked like a bagel, looked like a donut, we've had nothing in the middle. And we had a bit more, and you are right when you sit there and say, yeah, teams will get chances. The way we start both halves is very worrying. That is
Yeah,
the key. We see it
yeah,
seems to take us a good 10 minutes to get switched on and get going. And we've been punished in the past. And okay, we potentially could have been punished by Newcastle. Luckily enough, it was offside. But I think, like you said, that goal galvanised us a bit more. It gave us that more belief that we've been lacking of late. And players seem to know what they were what their roles were within the side. I think on Monday night, I think we haven't seen that. I think a lot of the time, especially when we've played Alvarez and Rodriguez together, it's been a bit confusing who's meant to press, who's meant to hold. And I think the three of them, the Paketa, because there was times when Paketa was slipping into that defensive midfield role, and you
yeah,
saw Suchek pushing up higher and pressing. And the understanding them three seem to have is a lot better than what we've seen with the rest of our midfield lately.
yeah. Absolutely, and I think it brought the best out of Paketa as well. Paketa
Yeah.
looked a lot more control. He was controlling the game second half. It was like fun for him. He will
Mm.
give the ball away. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about a player like Paketa. And it frustrates me. It does frustrate me, especially when it's not going right for you. He will give the ball away. Yeah, but he is the type of player that's going to get that ball at one time and play that threaded pass. Do you know what I was
Hmm.
watching today? Highlights of it just popped up on my phone, so I clicked on them just for a bit of an extra lift. The final,
Yeah.
the Conference League final, when he
Mm.
played that ball through, that's what he can do. He will give the ball away, but if you're not,
Yeah.
if you've got balance in your midfield, it can be dealt with because he's going to be higher up in the pitch, and that's what I thought he bought. He's not
Mm.
he's not having to come back and cover Rodriguez. He's not having to come back and collect the ball from a very deep midfield. He was more advanced. He
Yeah.
was in his
Yeah.
own in Newcastle. So yeah, he done that stupid back heel thing when he. But that's what you get out of a player like Paketa.
Exactly.
But every time that he give the ball away the other day, it was in his in their half, and it's
Yeah.
easier to balance like that. But what I would say about this game, Scott, is we need to go out on Saturday. Look, I'm not expecting a win. I'm not
Hmm.
probably not even expecting a draw. But what we
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
need to go out is prove that performance wasn't a fluke and it wasn't all Newcastle just handing it to us in a plate, because I think
Hmm.
that's what's going to be, Lopetegui's key going forward. I said before the game, 2 slappings in these next 2 games, and he's got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Definitely.
losing hope, and now I've got hope back. So at least, look, as I said, I'm not expecting a win. I'm not even expecting a
Mm.
draw, but a performance and, something coming out of there, not 4, 5, 6 nils or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
As long as we've given it a go, as long as we, maybe score a goal, I'll be happy with that. You got to be realistic.
Yeah, of course you have, and this is the thing, when you sit there, you look at Arsenal, they seem to have turned the corner. Odegaard coming back for them has been massive.
Of
You know, they
course,
they they swept aside Forest 3-0, and Forest have been an informed side this season. They
I
just
would. I would
got
say this though, they did get beat by Newcastle, and I
yeah,
know Odegaard and stuff was missing, and we've just swept them aside. So I wouldn't look at, I think Forest are on a bit of a slide at the moment. When you look at their results,
mm,
um, but they're going to be sniffing blood. Arsenal, they're going to be sniffing blood because of the former City. You know, Liverpool have got a less chance of sustaining this form than
hmm
someone like Man City, because they're an injury or two away. They've got a very thin squad. They didn't sign many players in the summer. So Arsenal will be looking at this and thinking, right, if we can get up to Christmas within touching distance, there's a
yeah,
chance Liverpool might fall off. City, you don't know when City are going to come back. At the moment, they're all over the fucking shop. Last night
exactly,
I've never seen anything like it from a Pep Guardiola side. So they are going to be sniffing blood, and that's why
mm,
you're seeing these upturns in performances from them. I think because they're thinking, right, listen, we've gone for our little blip, and now we're still within touching distance. It's a long way away from Liverpool, but as I said,
yeah,
Liverpool are more susceptible to to a slip in form if they lose a player or two.
yeah, yeah.
So they will be sniffing blood, but they were sniffing blood last year when we went there. I went on a Sorry, I don't mean to take over the show, but I went on an
All right,
Arsenal talk sport thing today, and there was
yeah,
sort of 4 Arsenal fans. It's called Inside Arsenal. It was Darren Bent and another couple of guys. And I mean, Darren Bent, I've never seen anything like. He's so arrogant. And they asked me what the result was going to be, and I said 2-2. And
hmm
Darren Bent was sort of like sitting there shaking his head, laughing. And I was thinking to myself, like, it's that sort of arrogance that
yeah,
that you know that 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 can be their downfall at times. We was in poor form when we went there
mm,
last year, right? And they spoke about is a 6-0 hiding. We shouldn't have any trouble. We beat them there 6-0. They forget that just before that in December, we beat them 2-0 in their own backyard when they
yeah,
was on top of the league.
yeah,
So
and knocked him out of the cup.
and knocked them out of the cup. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's. I think they are getting a bit carried away with themselves, and that is sometimes Arsenal's downfall.
Well, that's the thing, mate, and I think that's why a lot of Arsenal fans have started to wind other fans up is the arrogance that they seem to install. They've not really won anything. They won one trophy under Arteta. They're not no better off than they have been, and they've got that arrogance about them that they deserve to be where they are and they're better than everyone else. And it is
Team.
pissing fans off. You see it of many fans. They're getting pissed off of Arsenal fans being like that.
Yeah,
And like you said, mate, they forget themselves at times, and I think even though they have sort of had that resurgence, you've still got to look at the performances and sides like Bournemouth. You know,
Yeah,
that wasn't a fluke result. Bournemouth played well, and I think you're right. I think with us, we need to put a performance in. If we walk off that pitch and we've put a shift in, put a performance in, and Arsenal on the day were they were clinical, they were the better side, you'll take it. But
yeah, yeah, of course.
I don't want to see us sitting back and trying to, stifle them. Take the game to them. That's what Bournemouth
Mm.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
Get on the front foot, take the game to them, put them under a bit of pressure. And like you said, their own arrogance to get the better of them.
And I think
And that's
we
what
have
we
got the
need.
players to do that, mate. We have got the
Yeah.
players to do that, and you see that the other day. I thought Somerville was excellent the other day. I thought Bowen was
Yep.
excellent. You know, that
Yeah.
goal in England and that little respite with England seems to have revitalised him. Listen, when Jared Bowen's on it, he's as good as anyone on that pitch tomorrow.
100%.
Saturday, sorry. So look, if he comes into the game, we balance out the midfield and all that. Couple of years ago, mate, we've done all right against Arsenal in at home in the last few
Hmm.
years. It's only last year I think we lost to them. So 2-2 the last year, we cost them the league.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they I'm more positive than I was. But listen, all I want is for him to prove that wasn't a fluke, and then I'm behind the Lopetegui. So
Yeah, exactly, mate, and that's the key thing. But it's we just got to be clinical. That's the key thing. Take our chances. We need to be a bit more resolute. Arsenal are going to create chances. They've got a lot of flair, a lot of good players going forward. But they've got their injury problems still as well. Ben White's out for a long period of time. Gabriel went off in the
yeah,
game against Sporting the other night. So they're going to have a bit of a defensive reshuffle if he's not available. So you've got to start trying to pray looking for weaknesses in the side, and that reshuffle in that back line could potentially be a weakness, especially. I thought, in player we haven't really mentioned Antonio.
mm.
I thought that was one of the best games he's had this season.
Yes,
It
yeah,
just
yeah,
seemed. Could we now have the players that are hitting a bit of form? Like you said, Bowen looked more resurgent. Antonio Paketa, as much as when you look at him on the ball, I think he put more tackles in on the pitch than any other player on Monday night.
It looked like
So
it looked
go
like we'd worked on how hard we're working.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it looked like we'd done over the international break. I know Antonio was away; he missed his game, which is probably good for us.
yeah.
But just hard work, just
Mm,
hard work. And as I said before, you know, with West Ham, they don't expect much. There's, we like a bit of quality, but what
mm.
we value over everything else is hard work. Work
Yeah,
hard for the badge, and you won't go wrong. So
exactly.
yeah, put the shift in like that again against Newcastle, and we've got a chance.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Joe, looking back at it, Monday's performance reminded me of a Moyes' performance when we were playing well.
Yes, yeah,
Everyone was running, everyone was working, everyone knew what they were doing. We looked more like that side that was competing in the Europa League, competing in the league
yeah.
and pushing up, climbing the table. We looked more like the side that we were.
Mm,
And like you said, mate, we need to see that again. But obviously, with ourselves, Tadibo went off. He
mm,
seemed to be walking all right after the game, so maybe that was more of a precaution. So that could be a
yeah.
potential change. But Mavropanos, he don't mind a goal against Arsenal, and he put in a good performance a couple of times against Arsenal as well. So he's a good player to come in this one. Would you make any changes to the side if there's no forced changes?
I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I don't think I would. Kudus is still not available. He would have been the
Yeah,
only one I would have been tempted to put in, if if he was
if he's
back, but he's
fit
not back.
enough. Yeah,
I don't think I would, Scott. I don't think I
no,
would. I think it stays the same. Listen, if I think you take someone out and put someone else in, I think it sends the wrong message. You've got to
mm.
show players that you reward hard work.
Yeah, yeah.
And that place in the team is there to be kept. I would not bring Alvarez back in. That's for sure. You know,
Mm.
um, yeah, he's a good player to come off the bench if you're trying to hold on to a lead with 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go. No, but I think as I said before, there's all these sorts of rumours that there's all these rifts in the changing room and people unhappy and all that. I think someone like Soler, especially, that was
Mhm.
his second start, um, which he's going to be sort of chomping at the bit to try and get
Yeah.
starts. it worked. So reward the players that you've got there.
Mhm.
That's what I would
Yeah.
say. Send the message out, and then send message to players that have dropped out and are trying to get back in. You've got to work to get back in this
Mm.
side. I think if you start, I think that was Moyes' problem at times. It was you'd have players that come in and do well, and as soon as the
Yep.
players that he was forced to, put them in for comeback, he would switch it straight away, and
Yeah.
that's why the likes of Danny Ings never sort of settled underneath Moyes, I don't think, and
Mm.
people like Krasic, was it Krasic? Who
Um,
was who was the
Kroll.
midfielders? Kroll.
Kroll.
Who the fuck's Krasic? I don't even think we've had anyone called
You're,
Krasic.
you're thinking of Lasic.
That's yeah, probably yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got no idea who Classic is, but yeah, people like him, that's why they couldn't settle under Moyes, that
Yeah.
because hard work wasn't rewarded. So they used to think Ben Rama, case in point,
Mhm.
why fucking work hard because you're not getting in the side no matter what. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think working hard and if the boys start putting in shifts, as I said, we've got the players to do well. But
Yes.
we've got to
Yes.
have the mentality, and what I've seen over the last few weeks, I don't want to accuse anyone or anything without any evidence, but them two tackles from um, Alvarez that have led to red cards in the two games, one against Liverpool
Mhm.
and one against Forest. It looks like they don't want to be there, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get themselves sent off so they can have a fucking couple of weeks off. It just looks like they don't want to be there. But I just want to see some proper steel grit. That's how you're going to get into Arsenal. Don't give them too much respect. They
No.
can be gotten into. They're not invincible. They're not as invincible as they think they are.
No. And that's it. And they're not invincible. And that's the thing you've got to look at.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
they are there to be got at. There are frailties within that side, and it's just you've got to pinpoint them, pinpoint their weaknesses, and take your chances. And that's the key thing. It's going to be a tough game for both fullbacks. But Wan-Bissaka again was outstanding. Emerson's going to have a tough time up against Saka. But as I said, let Arsenal worry about us because, as we were saying, Somerville was excellent. Bowen looked better. Back to his best, and Antonio was a beast again. So we have the firepower to hurt Arsenal going into this one. That being said, what do you fancy prediction wise?
I said on that inside Arsenal 2-2.
You stick with
I
that
said
one?
2-2. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that one. I think. Darren Bent, by the way, said 5-1 to Arsenal. Yeah.
I don't think I'm more confident. I don't think we're going to win. I'll be honest, but
No, no.
I think we'll put a performance in, so we will score. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I do think they'll just pip us, but I
Yeah,
think the
yeah.
performance
That's
against
fair.
Newcastle, I think will be harder to beat.
If we can come out of this one not losing, I think it will bode well going forward.
Yeah,
Even coming out of it with a narrow defeat, I think it will bode well going forward.
yeah, and that's my thinking, mate. So I think if we get a win, it's a bonus, but it's about the performance, the right performance, and you lose. As I said, you lose to the better side. You'll take it so long as the performance is right. I think the unfortunate thing for Lopetegui, I think this game after that Newcastle win, he could have done with the Wolves and the Leicester fixtures being the
Yeah, yeah,
next two.
yeah, yeah.
To get a bit of momentum going and playing them teams at the right time.
Yeah,
But that being said, put the performance in, no matter the result. So long as the performance is good, it still leads you into a good stead going into them next two fixtures.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
But yeah, cheers for joining me tonight, mate.
No, thank you.
Make sure you check out all our other content. There's the stuff. Post match pipe from Newcastle.
Don't forget to check out the breakdown, their new show.
Yes, yes, Nicky's breakdown, and also we'll be back for Friday Night Pint on Friday, and all the build up and the aftermath of the Arsenal game on Saturday. We'll be there to come and see us for fan cams. But as usual, mate, there's only one thing left to say.
Come on, your hands.
Come on, your minds.